Hi everyone, welcome to Watercolors with Jaylene. And for today's tutorial, we're going to do just a little abstract painting with some fun doodles on top of it. And so this is one that I had done previously, and I do have a previous video on how to go ahead and frame these. It's a real quick, easy video, so you might want to check that out after you get a couple of these painted up. But before we get started today, I would like to ask you to subscribe and like my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate the support. So to get started with this, let me go over my materials list real quick. We will have a piece of watercolor paper, obviously. My 24 cake Winsor & Newton watercolor paints, some clean water. Today I'm going to be using a number 8 round brush. And then I also have a white gel pen and 2 different sizes of the Micron black liners, and one is an 03, the other is an 05 nib, and I'm not sure, how much of either one I'll be using, but the black markers I use quite a bit, and then the white gel pen, I like to use that on some of the darker paints that I put on the paper, so it's a little bit of both. And it's really just whatever you prefer, whatever color palette you really like, you can use. I do have this one, and I also have this one that I had framed. As I mentioned, these two were the ones that I did in the previous video for framing purposes, but you can see there's a lot of the greens, blues, some black, and then also I used the white gel pen and just some of the black markers on this one as well. Okay, so to get started on this, I do have my piece of paper here, and I think I'm going to focus on some of the brighter colors today. A lot of this painting will be just wet on dry. There will be a couple of areas that I may blend a little bit, so it'll be wet on wet. We'll just kind of wait and see what I come up with. And so I'm going to make sure that my brush is very, very wet, has a lot of water on it. And typically when I'm doing watercolor paintings, I like to say, the watercolor paints, as they dry, they do become lighter. And so if you're doing something with several different shades of the same color, you'd want to start with the lighter color, let that dry, and then add on, on top of it with the darker colors. However, for this, we want some pretty strong, bold colors. So I'm going to start with one of the oranges, and I'm not going to go down through the list and with all of the individual colors, because it is really your own preference with what colors you want to use. And you can see here I'm kind of doing a little bit lighter on one area, and I'm just pretty much, splattering the paint wherever. So there's some oranges. We'll do some really light there, and I may add just a little bit of a darker on top of that and kind of let that blend a little bit. We'll see how that turns out. And like I said, it's, really all what you prefer. Just get creative, have fun with it. I've painted several of these smaller ones, and then I have them laying around. So if I'm watching television, I feel like doodling or something, I can just grab one of these and a marker and just start having fun with it. So you may want to do that as well, do up some ahead of time and just have them around. And so I'm kind of going with some oranges and reds, and then let's see, I'll put a little bit of red up in this area as well. And you do want to leave some white areas in between, because we can always add some fun little doodles, whether it's dots or stripes or whatever, in those areas as well. Okay. And you can see It's fun to leave some of the brush, like the dry brush mark areas like that when you're adding some doodles and texture on top of it. Can be fun. So we'll go there and then just a little bit over in that area. Then I'm going to pop in just a little bit of green. Some of the bright, now this is an emerald green. It's a nice bright green. See how fun that is? And you can do, you know, just purples and blues and greens, or boy, any colors, any color combination is going to work wonders. And even with something like this, if there's, rather than just doodles, if there's, like different types of flowers that you like to, you know, just kind of doodle or draw in, you could always put those on here. I mean, it's really whatever your imagination comes up with. It's just a lot of fun. I do like to keep it pretty bright. And like this blue, I definitely want this to be somewhat dark so that we can use, you know, the white gel pen a little bit. It obviously doesn't show up on the lighter stuff, but you know, we do want to have a little bit of fun with it. All right. And I think the green, I do want to put just a little so that we can use some of the white gel pen on that as well. If you don't want to use a white gel pen, you could always go with just a bunch of brighter colors. That's fine too. You know, whatever. Whatever trips your trigger. That's what this is all about. And a lot of times, like if you have, you know, if you feel like painting or you aren't sure and you just have a little bit of a creative block going on, you know, and you have a couple of these already painted up, that's a great time to grab one, start doodling, and, you know, it could get your mind going. All right, so just that quick here. In fact, let me do just a little bit more. I feel like there's just a little too much white in this area. So for that, I think I'm going to grab, haven't done this yet, I'm going to grab some of the deep dark purple and just kind of go over that a little bit. All right, let's put a little bit of that dark down here as well. See, look at how fun these colors are. They're great, aren't they? All right. Okay, so I think that's good. And what we're going to do is just give this a couple of minutes to dry very well, because we don't want any of it even remotely wet once we start putting the doodles on there. So we're going to give this just a couple of minutes to dry, and then we can move on to the next step. Okay, so I think this is dry enough now. And so I'm going to take my, I think I'm going to start out with my 05 black micron pen. It's permanent. And so we'll start, you know, with just a few fun little things and start filling this in. One of my followers on YouTube, here on YouTube, had asked me if I would create this video, so I thought that that was a really good idea. And then, as I had mentioned earlier, I do have a video on how to do a quick little framing on these, and obviously the quick little framing works on just about any type of piece of art that you have, and it's easy. I think the video is less than 10 minutes long, and framing 2 pieces, that's how quick and easy it is. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of start with some easy little things, like in this area. I think I'm gonna just do some dots, some oval-y dots. And this type of stuff, this in lines, you know, squiggly lines, they're probably my favorite little doodles. It's just fun. And then in this orange one, I'm going to do some lines. And with the lines, I don't want them all the same length. You know, kind of create a little bit of a texture with them. And with that, you can kind of follow like one of the color shapes, you know, as far as how to draw the lines. So I do have them a little, you know, kind of back and forth. You can see it's just a little bit of a texture going on there. And then in this orange area, I'm kind of going through and filling in the orange areas first, and then I'll go back through and, you know, hit up one of the other colors and, you know, kind of go back and forth with that. So with this one, I think I'll just do kind of a line and then some bobbles, almost like it's a hanging, maybe like a wind chime type of thing. There again, they can be different lengths. Okay, and let's see, maybe if we go up here, and I'm going to put in some hearts, just kind of going different directions. And put some dots in around them. And then, tell you what I'm going to do, just in this light purple area, just for the heck of it, I'm going to put a little smiley face. When I'm doing these abstracts, I always like to put in a smiley face on each one someplace, just kind of like a little logo or my little trademark. So I'll put this down for just a minute and pick up my gel pen and see what we can do with this. So I think up here, I'm just gonna, let's see. I think I'm gonna do a flower, well, kind of a flower. Doesn't have to be realistic by any means. You can do absolutely whatever you want. You know, make it creative, make it cool. I think here I'm gonna put a star. And I'll tell you what I have discovered with these gel pens is if you don't press hard, the ink flows really nice. If you press hard, it doesn't flow quite as well, and you have to go over it several times. So that's just a little trick for you, a little something to remember. And then I think here I'm just going to do some dots and just kind of follow the glob of paint there. And you can see those kind of blend in a little bit. So I'm going to take my finer, my 03 nib marker, and not really go all the way around, but just kind of highlight all of these little marks that I have on there. And I think, let's see, I want to get a couple of ideas here to see what I have going on. Oh, I don't know, maybe if we were to do, this is kind of like one of those mazes. Have you ever done like a brain, you know, brain bender with a maze, and you go through it and try to get to the middle? This isn't quite as complex as one of those, but kind of the same idea anyway. And then down here, I think down here I'm going to, in fact, I want to use my larger pen. And I just want to put in a little daisy. And then anytime I'm doing like little daisies or flowers, I try and keep the petals at an odd amount, whether it's 3 or 5. I don't know why, I just, for whatever reason, I like the odd number. I think I had picked that up from a designer one time. So put in a little flower there. And then to add to that, we could even, you know, just kind of sprinkle in a little bit of white to add a little bit to that. And then over here, I'll tell you what I would like to do is just draw a bunch of circles. There we go. Let's see. In this, well, actually, yeah, in this area here, I want to do just kind of a zigzag. And there again, I'm just kind of following the shape of the paint itself. And then I'd like to do that again here. And let me grab my white pen again. And I think in this area, I just want to do, see, this is what I'm saying about going lightly with this. It's being stubborn today is what it's doing. So those are just some lines. And then down here, we need some polka dots down on this end of the paper. Kind of put them sporadically. Then switch back to my marker. And I think in this area, I want to do, now these lines, the texture that I want to put on these is a little bit different. I just want to do like little squiggles. Not on every one and not in the same area. Okay. Let's see, what else could we do? I think on this green area, what I would like to do is, let's see. I only have one little flower there, so I think up here, oh, and one flower there. Okay, I think that is enough flowers, just a couple of them. Now this green area, I'm gonna leave that the way it is. I don't want doodles on absolutely every inch of this. If you want to do yours that way, that's great. To each his own, you know, we all have our own preferences. So up through here, kind of want to do this, add some little dots, and then do another one. Add some little dots. And let's see, what else could we add to this? I think actually right here, now this blob of, well, it was kind of a purplish with the green over it. So what I'm going to do is just like a sideways, almost like a rainbow type of thing with the curves. And then, you know, just kind of add a little detail to them. There. And then in this area, we still need something. So I think I'm going to just kind of do some, I don't know what these would be called, little squiggles. And then with those in the middle of each one, put a little white dot. It's not really showing up, but there. And you'll have that sometimes. It's like, well, it doesn't really show up, but you know what? That's okay. Doesn't matter. All right, so I think really that's about it. I could keep going on this, but for the sake of the video, I will stop here. I think it looks really good right now. And as I had mentioned, you know, to put this in a frame, it's easy enough. Check out my other video about framing, you know, doing the background, the solid background color. Here, let me set this up here. And I don't know if all of this is even fitting into the frame right now, but and you can see this one is just a little bit lighter in colors, and that's okay. But there is a complete video on how to do a quick little framing on these if you want to do that to set it around. It makes a nice gift for someone, you know, for their birthday or even at the holidays, you know, something that they could sit on their desk, sign your name to it, and that, you know, it really makes it special. So that's really all that I have for this. And once again, if I could ask you to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would really appreciate it. It helps me out tremendously. And until next time, have a great day, happy painting, and ciao for now.